Jumbo, fellow adventurers, Mike Dooley, and it's time for a spiritual tune-up. Thanks for the great questions you post below on Facebook and Instagram every day. The questions posted just after a live broadcast are up for consideration as tomorrow's talking point. So post away. Plus, I love it when you tell me where you're from, what resonates with you, what doesn't resonate with you. Share, like, follow. Thank you, thank you. The wind beneath my wings. Today's question is profound, self-reflective, somebody who's truly seeking answers, seeking the truth we live amongst. Mike, do we all have a dark side? And if so, how do we best bring that part of ourselves to the light? Okay, I know this is splitting hairs, but it's important to ask questions as accurately as possible. Otherwise, it's based on a failed premise, and the answer will never quite be what you want it to be. So I'm parsing this pretty thinly. To be as literal as possible, absolutely no, we do not have a dark side. Not one speck, not a smidge, not an atom or a molecule. Pure, radiant light. But I understand what the questioner is asking, and there's validity to the underlying question, and that is, do we all have a darkness? Perhaps it might be a better way to ask it. And excuse me for splitting hairs. What there is truth and confusion. And to the degree that we are confused, there's darkness. Okay, darkness, pain, suffering, emotional, physical, pandemics, the cold, you name it. Strife with friends and weird manifestations that don't make sense. Those all stem from confusion. Confusion can lead to evil behavior, if you will. But do we have darkness innate? Some of our DNA, some of our cells? Are we born a little bit kind of like a blank slate, and there's blotches of I don't know what else to call it. People would call it darkness. No, 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 no. All pure radiant light. You are 100% divine energy. Now this is going to go somewhere. I'm going to answer the question last. How do we best bring let's call it the darkness to the light, the confusion to truth? But first, something that's implied by the question, I guess that pushed a button for me, is the presumption, as I was taught going to Sunday school classes, being part of the Catholic Church, not part of any church today, is that there is an evil out there lurking in the world, as if it was some primordial force with a will and an intention, a volition all its own. Call it the devil. They usually do. Neither is there such an evil of its own volition, nor is there a devil. It begs the question, if you believe in source energy, the divine, all that is, the universe, or call it God, and certainly there is an intelligence that put this bastion of order into motion. That's gotta be a given. There's no way that consciousness sprung from matter. There's no way that matter nor energy, if you will, is the prime mover. It's all illusions. That's known science. And something set these illusions into motion. A vast intelligence that the human brain could never fathom or comprehend. Wouldn't it go without saying that this indescribable intelligence, clearly motivated entirely by love? Otherwise, you wouldn't see the beauty, the perfection, the symbiotic relations everywhere. This loving intelligence, wouldn't you expect, at a minimum, that it would be able to control, regulate, manage, or squash anything it had created. Now, some religions will tell you that God created angels. One of the angels ran amok. One of the angels became untethered. One of the angels kind of tried to bring down the whole house. And now it's God versus that angel. Please. God is clearly so immense. This would be like God has a kitchen in heaven, and in that kitchen there is a cockroach. I don't think so. Not in a zillion, trillion, billion years. Whatever would be displeasing to the divine would be changed before it even became displeasing. Now, I am not justifying the evil crap that human beings do. But when you realize it's happening in a holographic universe and it's born of their confusion, and what it is their own unintentional, in some cases maybe intentional manifestations, and that life in time and space, while meaningful and profound and beautiful and absolutely sacred, it's still just a dream. And I don't mean to diminish it in any way when I say just a dream. It is beyond worth in value and beauty and all. There's just no words to describe it. But still, whatever happens here, we all have forever. Forever and ever and ever. And then we have forever again. And then and forever and ever. So that might put into perspective the kind of crappy things that human beings can do in their sleep-induced state where they are far removed from truth. So there's no evil lurking on its own. There's no blotches of darkness inside the soul or in any human being. We're all here, as I've spelled out in the last two spiritual tune-ups, kind of marching up the ladder of the spiritual evolution of consciousness. Going from darkness, which is, again, just a kind of a label, if you will. All labels slip and fail to a degree. A label for confusion, being out of alignment with truth. But by being out of alignment with truth, we can proceed towards truth. And we will arrive at truth with a newfound awareness and compassion and empathy and joy that was otherwise impossible without the fall from grace. Not an unintentional fall. Divine intelligence saw that coming, but it made possible this procession, this adventure, an adventure that could never have happened had it not been for the fall. And in this kind of lost, if you will, temporarily lost state, our confusion will be a breeding ground for bad behavior, evil deeds, and other forms born of misunderstanding who we really are and how we got here. Finally, how do we best bring the darkness in ourselves? Again, words are slipping and failing here. I know you could read that several ways. How do we bring it to the light? The same way anything happens in time and space. You do it with intention. You intend to reveal the darkness. You ask yourself with the expectation that the answers are in reach, because they always are. You ask yourself, what am I not seeing that I could be seeing? How else could I view this person or this situation? What's there and has been there all along that others see that I am not seeing? If you are in pain, emotionally or physically, there's something you're missing. If you're having trouble with an individual, and this does not excuse their bad behavior, but if you're having trouble with it, there's something you're missing. Now, that doesn't mean don't seek recourse. That doesn't mean that it's okay what they did. It's not okay what they did. But you have the ability within, through light and love, to come to peace and connect the dots, be free and move forward. And still, you can take them to court if you want, or have a talk with them and let them know what's going on. Search with intention for whatever it is you might not be seeing, and let that search be filled with love. You've always done your best. No one could have done better in your shoes. No matter what you've done, no matter where you've been, no matter where you are, you have done your best. So go within, open your heart, open your mind. It takes a very big person to consider that there might be ways of understanding others or circumstances or life or themselves than the way they have always viewed them. A huge person. And this doesn't mean compromising in the traditional way or settling for less. You can have your high standards, but you can come to a peace with it and an understanding in light and love, and perhaps say adios to those people who are no longer serving you. Okay, loving the search for truth doesn't mean you have to hang around with everybody you've ever met. Sometimes the lesson is learning how to say goodbye with love in your heart. Okay, fellow adventurers, thank you very much for the opportunity. And one of the books of the 17 that I have written that touches on a lot of these types of things, such as evil and our evolution of consciousness, is the top 10 things dead people want to tell you. The top 10 things dead people want to tell you. So I put that link in Facebook below. Otherwise, go to Amazon and Google Mike Dooley, the top 10 things dead people want to tell you, for a lot more on these kind of fringe esoteric topics that will actually bring light into your normal waking mainstream hours to live like you could otherwise not live. This is what the truth promises. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Michelle and Winnie, thank you so much for being here. Terry, Kathy on Instagram, Snow White Aquarian, glad you're here. We've got Faith Like Gravity, Rock Solid, and then we have Rithka. I wish I could pronounce that right. Okay, everybody, see ya tomorrow. Post your questions below. Hasta la vista, baby.